another Friday, you bunch of heathens. Woof.
It is Friday.
Good Lord, a Friday, and back at the Mead Hall of all places.
Finally Friday.
Perdition, as some may call it. Here we are. It is the Mead Metal and MMA podcast. No Brandon this time around because he, I think, joined a hippie band and went out to play tambourine in some all-vag band out in California. So instead, you get yours truly, Kevin, and, as we like to always have on the show at any chance we can, we have Ruben from Alone in a Room.
Woo!
Good day, sir.
How's it going?
I like the little half effort at the Nature Boy Ric Flair woo, but yeah.
Woo!
So anyway, we get together and talk about our three favorite things. We'll get to that momentarily. First of all, back from the wilds of Austin, Texas. Actually, I should say back to the cultural center of Austin, Texas, because getting back to here, well, I don't talk bad about where I live because I think that's fucked up. That's not a good thing to do.
It's not. No, you can't do. Yeah.
But I can say I already miss Austin, and it's only been like 5 days. We had an overly good time while we were there. Took in a lot of sights and everything else. And for those of you that said, "Wait a minute, you assholes said you're going to do 2, maybe 3 podcasts from Austin," and we did the one. Well, frankly, after the as much as we indulged in liquor. We decided to do one. We called it good at that. But nonetheless, though, it is good to get back and kind of get into the flow of things. Again, Ruben hanging out this time around. No stranger to the show. So as I always ask Brandon, but I will point it your way this time around, how's your week?
It's going, man. It's going.
You got to get better than that.
It's been a week.
Dude, you work in in the retail business. There's no way in hell you don't have something crazy to fucking happen this week.
I do, man. There's always hell, man. Customer service.
Yeah.
Shit. Welcome to the age of entitlement.
Did you get robbed this week or anything?
Not
this is New Mexico.
Not at gunpoint, but let's talk about shoplifting. Fuck, man.
Oh, do you get the whole beer?
Everybody and their mom shoplifts us, man. I get fucking tired of babysitting, man.
Do they do the whole come in late at night, act like they're going to buy something, and then dash out the door with it?
This guy walked in yesterday. He walks into the candy aisle and he grabs, and they have no shame and they just help themselves. They don't even run from the. They don't even hide it anymore, man. This guy went in there and he got like 6 of those Hershey's candy bars.
Right.
And he's just walking around with them, right? All right.
Sure.
And we know the career thieves, the ones that just are
they like regulars?
Yeah.
Really?
We have our regular thieves. And there's only so much we can freaking do, man. And so I'm following him around. And okay, obviously he's still holding the candy bars. All right. I'm still watching him. I get distracted and then I go back and then I notice he doesn't have candy bars in his hand anymore.
Yeah, things have been pushed down the front of his pantaloons. Huh?
I walk up to him and I was like, "What happened to those candy bars you had?" He's like, "What? I don't know what you're talking about, man."
Put it back.
I said, "Let me see your right pocket." He pulls out a pack of cigarettes. See, ain't nothing here. And I was like, "Okay, let me see your left pocket." And he's like, "You ain't got to do all that, man." And I was already stressing that day, man. So I was like, you know what, fuck this. I just walked away, man. Just, you don't know if these people have a knife or a gun on them, man. I don't want to get shanked over a fucking candy bar.
Nobody, ain't nothing worth that shit.
Over a fucking Hershey's candy bar.
Yeah. Man.
Sometimes I just got to let it, I'm just like, fuck it.
Yeah. Man, my week was a little bizarre because I did take Monday off. I get like 3 personal days a year, so I used personal day number 1. It's already February, and I feel really weird about that because I usually take them the second half of the year. But it was well worth it to go down to Austin for the UFC Austin event.
And this is your first live. Your first one. I mean, now I'm going to say this. It's really weird. I mean, because if you've done nothing but watch it on TV, which was my case up until last Sunday night, there's no commentary, obviously, but I mean, and I thought, yeah, that's fine. Commentary just gets in my way. I don't know, man. Actually, there was one fight. It got fight of the night. I thought it was the most boring goddamn fight of the night. And it got fight of the night, and I thought, well, apparently I missed something. And that's what you get on the commentary because those guys that are sitting right there, octagon side, are staring at like multiple monitors and shit. So they know what's going on. They can see what lands, what doesn't. I'm watching like bouncing back and forth between Jumbotron up here and then down at eye level, the cage itself. And I mean, we didn't have bad seats. We were like 21 rows back, but from the floor. But man, it was still. I know I missed some stuff, and that's the whole thing. Whenever they get really close and the crowd would start getting fired up, well, I'd look back up at the Jumbotron. Shit, I might as well watch it on TV. Yeah. Would you do it again?
Oh, no, absolutely. Shit, yeah. I would absolutely do it again. I think probably at some point in the fall, whenever there's a card, I got to make sure, number one, it's a Saturday, so that way I can leave on a Friday after work, drive to Vegas, because that's the headquarters of the UFC. So they have, probably half the bouts, are out of Las Vegas. That's about an 11-hour drive. If I were to plan it right and, try to get a couple of people to go with me to kind of split the driving duties and shit like that, I could absolutely leave on a Friday afternoon, get there, roll in early Saturday morning and, kind of pass out and get up and kind of take the walk of the town, catch the event, on Saturday night, and then enjoy myself that night, pass out, enjoy, and probably take a Monday. So that way I could kind of enjoy Vegas a little bit on a Sunday and then come back Monday. And then I would drag ass the entire week, much like I did this week. So
you want to try for Vegas next time?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way to do it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, they have half of their bouts there and all that fun shit. So
okay.
Yeah. But nonetheless, though, Austin was really, really good to us. Brandon and I and my brother Daryl had a great time. Man, they've got a Japanese ramen noodle place there that is just it's been haunting me ever since, and I'm not going to be good until I can figure out how to recreate that broth that they do. They do a pork bone broth kind of a thing that that has taken a very long time.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So
pork broth.
Oh man. Well, I have this weird epiphany too. I'm standing on the street of Austin there, and waiting to eat on a Sunday afternoon, drinking a beer. I thought, man, back where I'm living, it's frowned on to drink outside, period, and then number two, on a Sunday, and I'm sitting there enjoying myself, getting ready to dine, and then go catch a big violent event on a Sunday night, Like, man, there's nothing about where I live that would probably approve of that shit.
I love the culture in Texas, man. I mean, they just don't give a fuck.
That's a big state, man. El Paso's got a different culture than Austin.
I guess you're right. It's not the same everywhere in Texas.
Yeah, Austin has got its own unique thing, though, man. It's a weird vibe. It's a musical.
I hear music's big. Music's like real big in Austin. That's
yeah,
what I hear.
And man, I will say this too: is the not just the music, the diversity that's there. I mean, you got hippies walking along, you got dudes these big ass belt buckles and shit walking around. I mean, it's a weird vibe, man.
Howdy, partner.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So and it's an entire city of that, And I mean,
okay.
They've got a pretty vibrant Asian community too, and you've got just everything.
That's good, man.
I mean, when they talk about America being the melting pot, go to Austin, dude. That's
like
where that's
Austin,
at.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, fuck New York City. Everybody says New York's the melting pot. It's not. It's really not. If you're trying to find a really diverse culture of different people from all over the place that are jammed into one place, I would say that Austin's it.
And gorgeous women.
There's no shortage, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
I'm actually kind of shocked that Brandon was able to extricate himself from town. No, the genetics are weird. Genetics are weird, man.
Oh.
Like 80% of women are just knockout gorgeous. 80%.
I got my sights set on Austin now.
Yeah, dude, you probably more than anybody I know, you would dig that town.
Yeah.
But I mean, between that, the food, the beer. I mean, we were drinking locally made Austin Brew Works. We had Pearl Snap. It's like a German Pilsner. It was a great beer. We had like 3 of those waiting online, and then got to go in and throw down some really, really hot ramen. And yeah,
man.
It was fantastic. And then we ate the original Torchy's tacos. It's a chain, I guess. They got like 10, 12 locations or something through Texas, but 3 of them are in Austin, and we ate at the original one. I mean, they throw some crazy weird shit in a taco. You think I throw some weird things in tacos? These people, they are the masters on this stuff, man. But see that, and I mean, it was just we ate at this Thai place. I wasn't overly impressed, but I'm not a big Thai food guy, as it turns out. I really have come to accept that. I thought, here's a place that's pretty top notch as far as the Yelp reviews went, and if I don't dig this, I just know that I don't dig Thai food. Of course.
Okay.
I liked it when I was in Thailand, but man, I was a lot younger and I was drunker then too. So
what would you rate it from 1 to 5? What would you rate it?
I'd throw it a 3, probably
a 3?
3.5, 3.5. It was fine. There's nothing bad about that, but I just think that there's certain foods from Asia that I'm not on board with. Thai is one of them. Indian food, I have yet to have good curry. And the problem is, and everybody every time says, no, but you'll like this curry. I haven't had one good curry yet. So I think that's just dead to me. Now, however, on the other hand, Vietnamese food, Chinese food, and especially Japanese food, bring it on. But it's a whole different thing. It's not as the flavors aren't as muted and muddy, I guess. Okay. Thai food, it's either. Man, and they really dig. God, what's that? That orangish kind of the tamarind. They really like to put a lot of tamarind.
Oh, they use a lot of tamarind.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, kind of like a lot of Oaxacan cooking too.
Oh,
yeah. But I'm not. I mean, it's fine just in small doses. But their food's either burning ass hot or it tastes like mud to me. Yeah. And a lot of it's that tamarind though that really kind of spoils it for me. And you don't find that. You find really more of a weird thing that goes on in Japanese stuff is it's really bold, but yet has a really light and delicate kind of a thing to it. So it doesn't seem like it should work, or it's possible to come up with, but they do, and that's what I found. Oh, great. Somebody just pulled in and the dog's throwing a fit. But anyway, that's, man, it was a great trip to Austin and love to go back. I don't know. That is definitely a trip you need 3.5, 4 days off to make it. But man, it's all right.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I'd like to visit there sometime.
All right, let's move on to the Mead Metal and MMA podcast.
Da-da-da!
Moving on to the Mead to start with. All right, well, last time we had talked. Actually, last time we were in Austin, so I think we may have already let the cat out of the bag on this. But Troublemaker, we're going to let that thing sit, I think, 3 months. That's what we're going to probably do. Because Brandon, when he was in town, he was only in town like a day and a half before we went to Austin. He was in town like a day and a half after we left. And he had a lot of shit to do before and after. We didn't have time to get that bottled. So
okay.
I don't really want to bottle it without him here because we've never done a batch where where two of us didn't do something pretty important with it.
Tradition is big at the meadery.
Yeah, I might have started a batch, without him one time. I might have moved a batch one time, but by and large, the really big stuff, though, the bottling process, I don't really want to do it without him. So I think what we're going to do, I might very well get our roadie. Silka to help move that to another carboy to let it clarify a little bit more. And really, it's not going to hurt it at all. It's going to only do favors for that batch the longer it sits. So,
age?
So if it waits around until about May when Brandon gets back around, I think, or sooner, but I think that would probably be the smart move for us to go in order to be able to make that batch work. So that's the deal with Troublemaker. It's just we're just going to put it on the back burner. It's going to be a great batch, I have no doubt, but I don't want to mess with it if Brandon's not around. So
okay.
Long ships, yeah, we bottled up a bunch of that. We've still got quite a bit, although it's been selling pretty well. So for those donors that are trying to help out our musical cause, that'd be awesome because I'm looking at buying a new guitar about July. So if you could help us out, that's what the money goes for is for our musical efforts, and I want to pick up a Guild Bluesbird probably over the summer. So.
Keep it rocking.
Yeah, and if not that, then certainly there's some other things I wouldn't mind picking up. I wouldn't mind picking up a couple of mic stands. We have the tabletop ones right now, but full-blown mic stands, probably maybe even some better mics. That's another direction I'd like to go. And working in at some point to pick up a PA. And then at that point, once Brandon gets back, maybe we can do some live gigs. We'll see what happens. So.
Mm-hmm. There's always something going on. Always something going on at the meadery.
Yeah, so that's kind of the look at what we have that's going on with the Mead side of it all. So again, we still have a lot of other things that are out there. We still have Runestone. We still have Holly King. We still have. I think we're down to one bottle of Green Man left. I think
one last bottle.
I think we're down to one. And if that is the case, it might be sold because I might be making a rack of ribs before long. So I don't know. That's and we do have a lot of long ships. Long ships this one around, to give you a little bit of a word of caution, it is more woody than it's certainly more woody than the last one we had. The last one we had, the honey was a little sweet. You'd have to go back to the first batch of long ships we made, and then you'd say, yes, that one had a lot of bourbon characteristics to it. This one even more so. We always have a ghost in the bottle because of the fact that we don't want to remove all of the flavor elements out of it. We're okay with a little bit of remnant yeast. We're okay with a little bit of whatever amendments we might have used. In this case, it's French oak. And if you pick up a bottle of long ships and you kind of give it a little bit of a swirl, it's got a weird, different ghost to it. Well, what that is, that's the French oak.
And me, there's so much going on in all these different batches. I sit there and just study the liquid under the light because there's like so many properties.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I sit there and I'm like, man, there's just so much going on.
So
it's very complex, but it's simple at the same time. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we have going on with that. I've got a test batch of hard cider underway right now. I had some hard apple, or I had some apple cider that was actually left over from around the late holidays. And I was at a point, use it or lose it. It's acidic enough. It's good in the fridge for like 2 months. And I thought, well, I'm at about the end of my chain here. So I went ahead, utilized that along with the our Lalvin D47 we utilize for most of our mead batches. Added in a little bit of honey as well. And so it's kind of just going to chill there for about the next 2 months or so, and we'll see what comes up. So, but it will be a hard mead or a hard cider. I'm probably going to use corn sugar to carbonize it. And carbonate it a little bit.
Okay.
So, and put it in 12-ounce bottles. I think that'll probably be kind of a positive thing for us.
That's one thing I love that you're not afraid to experiment.
No. As a matter of fact, by not having any batches of mead underway except for the Troublemaker right now, I'm completely free to do what I want to do. And that was one of them I considered. I thought I want to do a hard cider. I do still want to do a braggot, which is a mixture of beer and mead. It kind of meets in the middle. I just need to get my hands on some very special, very certain, very specific yeast. The brewery supply store in Lubbock is no longer open, so I don't have that option. So I need to go and get online and get some things done before it starts getting hot, because they won't send liquid yeast after, I think, March or something like that, because the weather's just too damn hot,
Shelf life?
Yeah, and then they have to FedEx it in like overnight or like a 1 or 2 day shipping, and then you have to individually buy ice packs for that yeast, so that way when it comes it's still cool and it's still good. It's a big pain in the ass, but you have to use liquid yeast for braggot, and there's no two ways about it. So
braggot, that's a new word. I never heard of it. So braggot is it's mead.
It predates beer, actually.
Okay.
It showed up in the early part of the Dark Ages to the middle part, and that's where beer was kind of born out of that, because mead became harder and harder and harder to find. Well, they would find that it's easy to ferment honey, but they also wanted more of a I guess, for lack of a better word, they kind of wanted a loaf of bread in every bottle. Well, that's kind of what beer gets you. But that was the whole thing, is that they would utilize strains of different yeast that would then the process of making it's a lot like beer. Now, the problem is I've never made a full batch of beer on my own, at least an all-grain batch anyway. So what they would do in the Middle Ages is they would end up taking basically the ingredients that you would use to make mead with, and they would take the ingredients you use to make beer, put it all into one fermenter that they'd utilize at the time, which I think would involve just throwing in a large ceramic pot and putting a wooden lid on it and throwing a cave for a year. But what it would do is the yeast would utilize all the sugars that were present from the grains that were in the beer, at the same time as utilizing the honey that was present, and it would come off with a very, very different beverage. But it's known as braggot, which I think is actually derived from some French word or something like that. But it is. It's kind of like a middle of the road mead meets beer. You can't just mix the two together and pour them into a container and call it braggot, because the yeast has to consume both sugars at the same time, producing a byproduct that is very, very different and unique. Anyway, that's something I'm going to try before we get back to the mead making business again. So, but that's what we have going on with that. We can move now on to the metal side of the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing: is that there are a lot of new releases this week. I'm not going to lie; I didn't get a chance to listen to all of them because I've got a job. Now, the first one though that I came across, it's a band out of Asbury Park, New Jersey, by the name of Vexes. Their new release is Ancient Geometry. That's actually what walked us in. It's probably what will walk us out this evening. VEXES. Check it out. Metal Injection. They do a serviceable rundown of a lot of bands. I'm not pleased with their overall take on everything, because they'll highlight about 4 or 5 of what their favorites are. They're never my favorites, but they actually kind of put a comparison in with the Deftones.
And I saw it right away whenever we sampled it, and I saw the comparison right away. I dig these guys, Vexes.
Yeah, and actually, if the lead singer has this vocal quality that reminds me of Big Wreck.
Oh, okay.
So you might want to check that one out. So that's definitely something to check out. They also said it's got the X Rhythm section of A Life Once Lost. So check them out. I like it. That's one of the releases I like a lot this week. Among a whole lot of releases that I didn't care for, that one's one I think is great.
I'll be jamming that one on either YouTube or Spotify tonight. I want to hear the full album.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. I'll do that tonight.
Now there's a Mongolian melodic death metal / folk metal band by the name of a Tengir Cavalry. I don't know if we've mentioned them on this podcast, but we have checked them out before. Brandon and I had checked them out. They're actually Napalm signed them. I mean, pretty big label, you know. They put out another one. So if you like a whole lot of the whole dunk ticka dunk ticka dunk ticka dunk, you know, I mean that's it. Yeah, horseback is actually something that's very endemic to the tribes of Mongolia. It's very endemic to their folk metal as well. Okay. So they've actually got a lot of albums. Check out YouTube; they come up all over the place. But it's Tengir Cavalry,
horseback metal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good way. That's a good way to phrase it. So they've got a new one out. Sion Bai, I think is the pronunciation. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just pulling something out of my ass here. Huntsman.
He does that a lot, y'all.
Yeah, Huntsman. They have an album out this week. This might be. It might be a little mellow for some of you. I don't know, because this is the Mead Metal and MMA podcast. The Huntsmen actually have what they had basically Metal Injection credited them with having great harmonies. It sounded like basically if Iron and Wine kind of jammed with the sword. So they're okay. I would like to listen to more of it. What I've heard, it's okay. It's not terrible. Now let's move on to the stuff that I do care about. Black Wizard has a new one out this week. And the album title is Livin' Oblivion, which I actually had to point out to Ruben a while ago. He said, who's this? It's Black Wizard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're like a stoner sludge metal kind of a band. I think you might enjoy their stuff. Here's one that blew my mind.
Were those the Thrashers that you played?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they thrash, man.
Now, the one that actually made me laugh for this week, and I'm not going to say they're bad. I'm just going to say that they're it's good to see that that some things can get locked in time and not move forward and advance. That is Dukes of the Orient. Now, you might say, who? And you won't recognize who they are. You won't, unless you recognize the names of John Payne and Eric Norlander. Whoa, wait a minute. Who are those guys? Well, Ruben remembers.
Remember Asia? What was Asia's biggest hit? Do you know? Do you know what the biggest...
Man, that was not my shit, because they were actually around back when I was kind of around. Man, what the hell was
it? 80s?
Asia's
80s, right?
Now let's see, what all were some of their big releases? Let me go ahead and roll it on down here. No, I don't want to care about the reunion. I only care about 85 to 91. That's when they actually put out all their big stuff. Astro was their big one that came out in 1985. And this is back in the day when you had MTV actually playing music and shit like that.
Yeah.
So they're they're not going to go ahead and throw this one out here. Oh, they're so important they've got to have an individual wiki page for each of their albums. So there you go. Let's see. I know Hard on Me was one of their big ones. Rock and Roll Dream was another one. And those were A-side tracks, but I'm not sure what was their biggest. I know that was off of Astra, and that came out in 85. They remastered, and who cares? Alpha was in 83. You know, I got to say, Don't Cry was that one. Man, I don't want to play. I don't want to play Asia on this. It'll ruin the podcast.
Yeah. Let's not ruin it, yeah.
Like somebody sticking their finger in a pot of stew. Hey, check it out. But anyway, it is what it is, and it is Asia, which is not great. But nonetheless, though, I think it is probably worth checking out, because back to the Dukes of the Orient, I think, is actually probably worth checking out because of that. Probably for about 2 minutes, get a good yuck like I did.
Lots of synth.
Yeah,
I hope you like synth.
And then move on. That's kind of the way that needs to go. And then you got Thunder Mother, brand new band. You might want to check them out. Their first effort album of the same name. Brandon actually calls them something other than hard rock, is what I call it. Well, they're heavy metal. But Ruben called them something else, actually.
Vagina metal.
Yeah, that's...
I just first thought that came to my head.
Dick. All right, anyway, so that's...
First thought that came to my dick.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's the metal rundown for this week. There's a lot of other stuff out there. Spondy Norman is one of them I was wanting to check out. I just didn't have the time. And We Sell the Dead. That's I've actually heard of those guys, and that's a new one for release for today as well. Pardon me while I pour me some Basil Hayden. Here we go. Oh, by the way, this week's podcast brought to you by Breckenridge Brewery Oatmeal Stout this week, called Dark and Dreamy. I understand that's actually what you...
It's exactly what it is, too.
That's what Ruben goes by once in a while. His phone sex job.
Hey, ladies.
All right, over to the MMA portion of the podcast. You know, they have UFC Orlando coming up tomorrow night. I'll talk about that slightly. But what I was shocked by, the event that we caught in Austin, we had... Okay, let me count out the number of finishes here. Off of a fight card, had a total, 6 on the undercard and then 6 on the main card. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of the 12. Jesus Christ, that sounds like a freight train. 8 out of the 12 fights ended with a submission or a knockout. There were only 4 of them that went to a decision. Wow. Judges were not really having to get paid to do much on Sunday night, and it was stunning. Like the first fight out of the box lasted all of a minute 51. This guy from Poland knocked out Tim Williams, knocked him out, and then so we're sitting around for like a half an hour because they're on a TV schedule.
Oh, yeah.
So then, we're sitting there. Fight didn't even go 2 minutes, and it's done. And we have like another 20 minutes of sitting around our ass, which turned out being okay because you'd have to pursue facilities, picking up a cup of Modelo, all that fun stuff. But and then we turn right around. Next fight after that lasts 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and then we're waiting again. So it's there's a lot of waiting involved in that one. There. But that's okay because man, it's exciting.
It was worth it. It was worth it. Yeah.
And I mean, and most of these were first round too. I mean, matter of fact, every one of them on the undercard that ended in a submission or a KO were all in the first round. There was only one decision, and that was a chick fight that they'd had. That this Polish chick just beat the living shit out of this other gal. This other gal, the problem is she ran a trailer. UFC does all these clips on the UFC Fight Pass, and they run all these clips about different things behind the scenes that you may not catch on TV. If you're like a real super fan or a nerd like I am on it. Well, this gal that from Canada, Sarah Moras, I believe is her name, she was talking about how she has to win because she's got bills to pay and her camp is not easy and she's having to cut weight and everything else. I was like, whoa, bitch, everybody has to do that in this sport. You're not alone in this.
Wow, she's so unique.
Yeah. But even the main card, so there were, it started with a decision, followed up by a decision, and then one of the second round KO, another decision, and then a third round KO, and then a first round KO. It was an exciting fight night, man. I mean, they were getting shit done. I mean, I thought the UFC was renting the place by the hour as quick as some of these fights were getting finished. So, but it was a good time. So UFC Austin again, Austin. Thanks for being really kind to us. That was a great time. Now coming up tomorrow, and I'm not one to dwell on this because I don't think it's a great card, but it is what it is. And you have maybe the main event, the second. There are like 2-3 fights on this that might be okay. The preliminary undercard, the UFC Fight Pass undercard, 4 fights. They never have like more than 1 or 2, sometimes 3, but this one's got 4. Ah. As a matter of fact, Brandon's favorite, Sam Alvey, fighting at light heavyweight, moving up from middleweight. He's going to be fighting some guy by the name of Marcin Prashinio. Who knows? I have no idea. The guy's name, he's so unknown, there's not even a hyperlink to his name. Who knows? I don't know. Preliminary card actually has got a couple of interesting ones, but man, it just depends on how deep you are in MMA. Ben Saunders is fighting Alan Jouban. You got Sarah McMahon fighting Marion Renault. Renan Barao is going to be fighting Brian Kelleher. It's fine. It's not great. It's fine. And then on the main card, only 4 fights there. And now this is on Fox, and that's the reason why these things are broke out. Probably, I'm assuming 4 on preliminary card, 4 on the Fight Pass card, 4 on the main card. Mike Perry's fighting Max Griffin. You got OSP fighting Lir Latifi. You got Jessica Andrade and Tisha Torres fighting Josh Emmett, and Jeremy Stevens might be it. That might be, if you're looking forward to a fight, that might be the fight to look forward to. And after that, man, it gets a little bit tiresome. Weigh-ins, Alex Perez, who's on this card, he Actually, he's fighting at a catchweight fight against Eric Shelton on the prelim, the Fight Pass prelims. Weighed in at 126.5, which apparently then Eric Shelton had the option to fight him or not. Well, he's going to go ahead and fight him because Perez is going to give up 20% of his purse to Eric Shelton. So why not? You know what? That's good enough for MMA this week. Ruben's kind of a little over his skis on this particular subject matter on our three topics that we like to discuss.
I like UFC. I just don't know as much about it as you and Brandon do. I'm not technical about it like y'all are. I'm like, oh yeah, guys beating the shit out of each other.
We're pretty deep, man. We're pretty deep on this thing. So
I play the shit out of the video game.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, though that started. That's how Brandon knows me. That's how he started pulling me in the UFC. He's
because
like,
of the video game. Yeah.
He handed me the controller. He's like, try this. I was like, guys beating it's like Mortal Kombat, but like the realistic one.
Video games are kind of your thing. What are you looking forward to next?
Oh yeah, video games.
I have 3 I'm looking forward to this year.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
Far Cry 5 comes out like 1 month from now. It's like a whole town full of rednecks that have like a religious cult, and they're like kind of took over the whole thing, and they kind of put the whole town in lockdown.
Oh shit!
It's a lot like certain areas where we live right now. But anyway,
all those Far Cry games are good.
Yeah.
Anytime I've played a Far Cry game, it's been a good game.
So that one, God, they keep moving it back. So who knows? Hopefully, it'll come out before the end of the year. Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's one I'm looking forward to.
Yep.
Because I almost finished the first one. Just about. I needed like maybe 10% more to complete it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm looking for part 2. I've been looking at screenshots and previews. Man, it's looking
polished. Well, it was supposed to come out fall last year, and it didn't happen that way. But,
that's something to look forward to.
So anyway, there's that, and then we have Last of Us 2. That's another one. If you played the first one, it's great. It's fun. Well, it's not great, but it's a good story. I think it's a really interesting story. If you're kind of in like zombie video games, it's definitely pretty cool. I'm curious to see what they do with it. I don't know if they're going to like reintroduce new characters or use the same ones they had. I don't know what's going on with that. So anyway, but it's certainly something worth checking out. Oh, hold on. Oh, my situation here. All right, my phone. My technology is screwing me in one way tonight. It's okay. I got a handle on it, but man, it's starting to drive me a little nuts. But anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to this year. But you're more the video game guy than I am. What you got coming up?
Yeah, me. I'm interested in getting me a Nintendo Switch now. At first, I was like, I
thought you were the guy that hated the Switch. Or really talk shit about it anyway.
When it first came out, I was like, whatever. Now I'm like, it looks all right. I have a Nintendo 3DS, which I love the shit out of.
Yeah. That one's a pretty good system. So.
I'm big on handhelds, and not a lot of people are.
Big on holding hands.
You and me, so happily. But a lot of gamers. I bring up handhelds, and they're like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, 3DS.
Well, I'm an all-out gamer, though. I like home consoles and handhelds. I try to get my hands on everything.
Right.
And some gamers I run into are like, I play Call of Duty.
Man, I'm getting sick. I'm getting shit sick of first.
They call themselves gamers. And I'm like, okay, what else you play? Dude, I'm the master of Call of Duty. It's like, do you play anything outside of fucking Call of Duty?
Yeah.
The gamers these days are just like,
yeah.
I'm not bashing Call of Duty or people that play it, but people, there's other franchises out there.
Yeah, no, look into those, man. Be a well-rounded individual.
The Need for Speed franchise I'm big on. Racing. I'm a racing games.
Yeah.
Anything racing games.
Right on. Well, there we go, man. That's going to do it for this week. I think we only ran about 35, 40 minutes, but it's a matter of just kind of trying to get some shit out there, try to get our feet back under us again, banging out the podcast again. But I'd like to thank Ruben for coming down, being a good sport. And
thanks for having me over, man.
Yeah, because if I do it by myself, I talk like 5 times faster. I'm done in like 10 minutes or something.
You just want to get it over with. You're like, this is lonely and depressing. I'm by myself. Let's get this shit over.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. You kind of read my mind on that one. But anyway, we move to the big wrap up where we go with our big 3. Your beverage for the evening, sir. What is the preference you have? It's not necessarily have to be something in front of you. What's your preference?
Beverages?
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a mead?
Absolutely, it can be a mead.
Man,
if you want to go that new long ships, I will reward you by a glass of it here in a moment.
Okay, yeah.
Not that I'm blackmailing.
Batch number 1 is man. Batch number 1. I don't know if that's my favorite or Green Man.
Yeah.
Those two are like constantly.
Well, probably a batch one is probably what we'll be working on next. It's probably going to be summer before we start it, but yeah.
Batch one was like the definitive Mead, man.
Yeah. Good man.
It's
go with this Basil Hayden we have tonight. Oh wait, no, it's sorry about that. It is it's Bullet Rye. Whoops,
Bullet Rye.
My bad.
Oh, and I tried a new beer I'd never tried before just this week. It's called Stella Artois.
Yeah, it's
pretty crafty.
It is.
They put a lot into it.
Yeah, I've got the special glasses you're supposed to drink with it and all that nonsense, but it's fine. I think it's a good beer. I don't think it's a great beer. I think it's a good beer.
Gotta keep it fancy, right, Kevin?
Yeah. Let's see. Mead Metal. What's your medal for the week?
Metal?
Yeah.
Let's see. I've been jamming a lot of POD because I'm going to go see them in concert on Sunday.
Right, yeah.
And then the band that's going to open up for them, Dead, they're a new band. I've been jamming a lot of them on Spotify. They just put out their new debut album, and they have a big group called Dead Nation on Facebook. It's like they got a big following.
Wow.
It's new metal.
Right.
But, yeah, they got a big following. And Guar, I listen to all, whatever I get my hands on, man. I just love metal.
All right. Well, I'm going to go Vexes this week because of their new stuff right there. Yes, indeed. And,
tonight I am full. I'm going to sit through the full album tonight when I go home.
All right.
Vexes.
Good. Give me a book report for next week. All right. And as far as MMA goes, I don't know that Ruben's got a pick on that one. My pick is
that one guy that beats the shit out of everybody.
That one guy is going to beat the living shit out. Actually, I'm thinking, as far as tomorrow's card goes, the only fight I really care about, Josh Emmett and Jeremy Stevens. I think Josh Emmett is going to crack Jeremy Stevens, and that'll be that. And everybody will be going, who the fuck is that guy? Much as Conor McGregor did at one
I'm probably going to start doing some more research into UFC just to help you out with the show.
Nah.
I like UFC, but I'm going to get into it a little bit more.
All right. Well, next
just
week
so I can have more feedback whenever I do the show.
Sure. No, it's all good. All good. All right. Well, next week, fingers crossed, but maybe we'll have Brandon back. He's ailment tonight. So what's keeping him
missed
down.
The cocksucker.
Yes, indeed. So there you go. If you think that nobody cares, Brandon, there you go. All right. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up. We got a lot of beverages to drink here in front of us, so we're going to go ahead and get you out. It is Vexes right now. And do check this out. Do buy it if you like it. Lift is their single. Just dropped today. And, hey, we'll check in with you cocksuckers next week. Hey.
Bye-bye.